so we are a HOSA group, and we're just interviewing Coach Johnston about anxiety in our school. So for our first question, from your perspective, how do you think anxiety is prevalent among students in our school?
I think in this school, it's very prevalent. I think just with teenagers in general, but especially at Independence, where there's a lot of push to be perfect academically and just in any club or organization that they do. So I feel like the kids here do feel a lot of anxiety just in everyday life.
So you said that academically in clubs and organizations. So if you have athletes and students, right? Have you noticed changes in students do you teach science? Let's say someone's really active in science, they're studying a lot and stuff, but they're not physically active. Do you think that puts an impact on their anxiety and well-being in general?
I mean, I do think so. I think being athletic or just active in general is a good outlet for anxiety or any sort of emotional disturbances you might have. And so I feel like when someone's not, they don't have that outlet or that way to express themselves, then I do think they internalize that anxiety a little bit more than those that don't.
Okay. So I was going to say that, have you seen one of your athletes or maybe someone in general that has been active have at least better lifestyle or being less stressed? Have you seen that somewhere in your athletes or something?
I do think just with the conversations I have with my athletes, I think they talk about wrestling being an outlet for them. So if they feel like they're sad or they're stressed or they're anxious or they're overwhelmed, come to wrestling and it feels like it's just lifted off their shoulders because they can just focus on doing their sport or lifting or running, and it takes their mind off of the things that they're worried about.
And you say that when they come in, they feel relieved. But let's say someone's really stressed and that isn't helping. Do you think anxiety affects the performance in general in your act?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially with wrestling, it's 90% mental for the sport because it's you against one other person, right? So then, they do just even outside of school anxiety, but with matches, they'll get really anxious before their matches, and then they go out on the mat and they do things they've never done before because they're so anxious about losing. So then they get anxious and then they do things they're not used to doing,
And so when they're feeling anxious right before going to their matches, how do you try to help them, or how do you think they can feel a little bit less stressed about it?
I mean, I feel like I have a good perspective on it because I was an athlete. I did wrestle through high school and college. And so I just tell them, I talk them through what I experienced. And so I tell them, rely on the preparation that you've been doing, trusting the process. You've been working on your moves, you've been studying, right? You've been doing all the things that you're supposed to be doing. So trust the process and trust your preparation, and then just go out there, breathe, and then just do what you know.
It's kind of like self-affirmation.
Yeah.
Nice.
So now in general, you're a teacher, you're teaching science, and then you're a coach at Independence. So if you get anxious and you have stress and everything, how do you manage that?
I really just take it one day at a time. And I feel like once it starts going, I feel a little bit better just because I'm in the groove and the routine of everything. But I think just from doing sports, I have a good sense of the self-affirmations that we were talking about earlier, just reminding myself that I know what I'm doing and I trust the work I've put in,
So since you're a teacher, you definitely see a lot of this. How do you think for us, for our peers, for our friends and stuff, what signs do you think we could be able to see that are our friend is stressed, they need to talk to someone? What do you think people should look for?
I feel like it varies with each person, but I feel like they get more reserved or they start acting a little bit different. They just kind of look like they're freaking out a little bit, And then that's just where you come in and you're like, hey, breathe, take a second, just process what you're feeling right now and just let them pause for a second.
Do you have any advice for students who might not be athletes but want to use be active to reduce anxiety? How are ways they could be active daily, but still be on top of their schoolwork?
Right. I mean, I think there's so many hours in the day, so you can always spare an hour, 30 minutes to an hour to go walk or do yoga or play Just Dance or something, some sort of active outlet that you can do with your friends or your family or just by yourself. And I definitely think just finding some sort of way to do something that moves your body helps alleviate stress. It doesn't have to be 100% you're sweating and you're exhausting everything, right? It could just be a little walk, but just anything to kind of get your body moving.
So you suggest people to do an active movement. It doesn't have to be a sport.
Mm-hmm.
Just something that moves your body.
Yeah. I think sports overall are really good for you just mentally and physically because it's like a community of people too. So once you start feeling overwhelmed, you have people to rely on. But if you don't have that, if you're just a student involved in extracurriculars and you don't have time for athletics, then just at least being active and just getting your body moving.
So a little bit off topic sort of, but like how do you think the relationship between your teammates, as in like they're being supportive to each other and like their friendships, have helped them kind of alleviate the anxiety?
I mean, just having that community of people to rely on, you know, like your sister or your brother, right? You can come home and you can vent to them, right? I see teammates as family, so you always have somebody that you can rely on to talk to, or they can see that you're acting different so they can help you. It's just being able to rely on each other.
You see them as like a family, and do you believe in like seasonal anxiety or seasonal depression that affects athletic? And what season do you see this more in?
I mean, I feel like the winter months seasonal like depression or anxiety, I guess. I feel like it's more in the winter months, and that's when wrestling is. That's the nature of our sport. Because I mean, you're trapped inside. You don't get to go see the sunshine and all that stuff, right? It's cold. And you're already in the midst of everything with the first semester ending, and then you're starting the second semester, and it's kind of like trying to get over that hump. So I think it's a combination of everything. I see just the pressures of everyday life and seasonal depression, or be what you will. It affects athletes for sure. And then that's just where you have to keep saying in their ear about their goals and what motivates them, and then just keep them going in the sport.
So like aside from being an athlete, what other pressures do you think like affect students and can like kind of start that anxiety feeling?
I think it's just pressures all around them, from peers to parents to themselves. Obviously everyone wants to succeed, but I think at independence pressures even more to just be perfect and do the best you can at everything. And if you don't, then you feel like a failure, which you're not, but that's how it's kind of labeled, you know? And so I think that's where a lot of the anxiety and pressure comes from, is just trying to put too much pressure on yourselves to be perfect.
So, do you think, so you've seen athletes that maybe see their friends or someone that they're playing with, or they think that they're not as good enough as them, right?
Yeah.
So do you think that you've seen there's a lot of comparison that's happening within them, within your athletes?
Yeah, I mean, especially like I said earlier, wrestling is an individual sport, so then you're going against somebody else, right? And then let's say your practice partner is wrestling and they're winning more matches than you. Then you can fall into the habit of comparing yourself and thinking well, why aren't I winning if they're winning? You know, so there is the comparison for sure. But I just talked to them about you're your own person, you're wrestling your own matches. Their opponents are all different, you know.
So how do you think students could feel more confident about their performance, in school, your athletes? How do you think they could feel a little bit better about it then?
I think it's looking at, if you are to come across a loss or an obstacle or something that's hard, look at it as a learning experience rather than a failure. Whenever you do make a mistake, it's an opportunity for growth. It's not a failure. So looking at where you can improve yourself. I always tell my athletes, I'd rather you lose at these tournaments than win, because now we look at the holes and we look at where we need to work on and improve for next time. So it's just looking at things not as failures, but as opportunities for improvement.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem.